Imagine waking up every day feeling like you're always late for your own life. The alarm goes off, your phone lights up with notifications, the world demands that you move faster. Yet inside, something feels off, as if you're living at the rhythm of everything else, except yourself. The Stoics, more than 2,000 years ago, called this living against nature. Not nature in the environmental sense, but in the existential one. Living against who you truly are. For Stoicism, living according to nature does not mean moving to the countryside, abandoning technology, or rejecting modern life. It means living in alignment with the structure of reality and with the structure of your own mind. It means shaping your life around what is rational, necessary, inevitable, and essential. The Stoics observed that everything in the universe follows an order. Cycles, seasons, growth, decline, birth, death, chaos, and balance. Nothing fights against the flow of existence, except human beings. We fight what we cannot control. We argue with the past, we resist the present, we try to dominate the future. And in that constant struggle, we disconnect ourselves from the nature of life. Nature, for the Stoics, is not a place. It is a law. It is the invisible logic that governs everything. To live well, then, is to live in harmony with that logic. In practical terms, this means understanding that some things depend on you, and others never will. Your attitude depends on you. Your character depends on you. Your choices depend on you. But other people's opinions, the economy, crises, losses, the past, death, time, and the behavior of others will never depend on you. When you try to control what cannot be controlled, you live against nature. When you focus on what is truly yours, you live in accordance with it. Look at the modern world. Exhausted people trying to perform happiness on social media, lives measured by likes, people comparing their behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel, overloaded minds, accelerated bodies, empty souls. Stoicism would say, this is life lived against the natural flow of existence. Because life was never meant to be displayed. It was meant to be lived with clarity. To live according to nature is to understand that frustration is born from wishing reality were different from what it is. That anxiety comes from trying to live in the future, that guilt comes from being trapped in the past, and that peace comes from presence. The Stoic does not run from pain, deny suffering, or romanticize life. He understands that pain is part of existence itself, just like pleasure, loss, change, and endings. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the universe is change, and life is opinion. Epictetus taught that it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This changes everything. Because suddenly, you realize that you don't control traffic, but you control how you respond while sitting in it. You don't control loss, but you control the meaning you assign to it. You don't control chaos, but you control your posture in the face of chaos. To live according to nature is to stop fighting reality and start moving with it. It is to understand that resisting what is inevitable only creates unnecessary suffering. It is to abandon the fantasy of total control, to replace vanity with virtue, to choose character over status, consciousness over appearance, essence over performance. In daily life, this shows up in simple but profound ways. Accepting difficult days without destroying yourself because of them, refusing to turn mistakes into identity, refusing to turn loss into a life sentence, refusing to turn criticism into a verdict. It means acting with integrity even when no one is watching. Choosing what is right, not what is comfortable. Living with coherence between thought, word, and action. Nature is not chaotic, it is rational. And when human beings live out of alignment with that rationality, they suffer emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. That is why the Stoics argued that virtue is the only true good. Everything that depends on external factors can be taken away, but your character cannot, unless you surrender it yourself. To live according to nature is to understand that you are part of the whole, not the center of the universe. That the world owes you nothing, but you owe something to the world. Integrity, awareness, responsibility, humanity. It is to step out of the role of victim and into the role of agent. In the end, Stoicism does not promise a life without pain. It promises a life with meaning. It does not promise comfort. It promises clarity. It does not promise constant happiness. It promises inner stability. Because those who live according to nature do not depend on the world to be at peace. They build peace from within. And perhaps the greatest freedom there is lies exactly here, living in harmony with reality instead of at war with it. And when you begin to live this way, something subtle but powerful starts to change. You stop demanding that life adapt to your expectations, and you begin adapting your expectations to life. This shift may seem small, almost invisible from the outside, but internally it transforms everything. Because peace does not come from controlling circumstances, it comes from understanding them. The Stoics believe that every human being is born with the capacity for reason, and that reason is our natural guide. Just as a tree grows toward the sun and a river flows toward the sea, the human mind is meant to move toward wisdom, clarity, and virtue. When we ignore this inner compass and allow impulses, fears, or external approval to guide our lives, we drift away from our own nature. And drifting always comes with a cost. In the modern world, this drift often looks like constant distraction, endless scrolling, permanent urgency, the feeling that if you stop, you will fall behind. But according to Stoicism, a life lived in reaction is a life lived out of alignment. To live according to nature is not to live faster, it is to live intentionally. It is to pause long enough to ask not, what do I want right now, but what kind of person am I becoming? This is where discipline enters, not as punishment, but as alignment. The Stoics did not see discipline as restriction. They saw it as freedom. Because when your desires are ruled by reason, you are no longer a slave to impulses, trends, or moods. You eat with moderation. You speak with intention. You consume information carefully. You rest without guilt. You act not because you are pressured, but because you have chosen your principles. Living according to nature also means accepting impermanence, not intellectually, but emotionally. Everything you love is temporary. Every role you occupy will eventually change or disappear. Youth, even pain itself, is not permanent. The Stoic does not cling, because clinging is a refusal of reality. Instead, he practices gratitude without attachment. He enjoys without possession. He loves without fear of loss controlling his life. Think about how much suffering today comes from the illusion that things should last forever. Relationships that must never change. Careers that must always ascend. Bodies that must never age. When reality inevitably contradicts these expectations, people feel betrayed by life. The Stoic response is different. He expects change. He prepares for it. And because of that, he is not shattered by it. To live according to nature is also to recognize your place within a larger human community. The Stoics believe that reason connects all human beings, that we are citizens not just of a country, but of the world. This means your actions are never isolated. How you speak, how you treat others, how you exercise power, these are moral acts that either align with nature or violate it. In everyday terms, this might mean choosing patience over outrage in a culture addicted to anger, choosing dialogue over domination, choosing restraint in a world that rewards excess. It means understanding that cruelty, arrogance, and selfishness are not signs of strength. They are signs of inner disorder. And here is one of the most challenging Stoic insights. Living according to nature does not guarantee external success. It does not promise recognition, wealth, or applause. What it offers instead is something far rarer: self-respect. The quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are living in harmony with your values, regardless of the outcome. At some point, every person faces moments that strip away illusions. Illness, loss, failure, silence. These moments are not interruptions of life. They are part of life's design. The Stoics would say they are tests, not punishments, opportunities to practice what you claim to believe. Because philosophy for them was not theory. It was training for reality. And this is perhaps the deepest meaning of living according to nature. To meet whatever happens with dignity. Not numbness, not indifference, but steadiness. To feel fully without being ruled by feelings. To care deeply without losing oneself. To act courageously without guaranteeing comfort. When you live this way long enough, you begin to notice something remarkable. The world does not become easier, but you become stronger. Problems do not disappear, but they lose their power to define you. You still experience fear, sadness, and uncertainty, but they no longer own your inner life. Because a person who lives according to nature is not trying to escape reality. He is rooted in it, and what is rooted cannot be easily shaken. And so, Stoicism leaves us with a quiet but radical invitation. Stop asking life to be different and start becoming different within life. Align your mind with reason. Align your actions with virtue. Align your expectations with reality.